showed you on the couple of photos, I always put the screws back in where they come, just so that I don't lose where they go. So removed it from its canopy, rolled the canopy back on itself to expose the pole, and now I just need to work out how to remove the two end caps. The two end caps, they're probably just knock in, but I'll have a look at those a bit closer. And then slide out the canopy from its track. And then I can have a look at cutting back the pole, putting the centre bar back in, cutting the canopy, cutting the cover, and reassembling it. As soon as this bit's taken out and worked out, it should be a fairly quick process. But we'll see. Famous last words. So there are a couple of retaining screws in this canopy on one end, on this end with the red bit. A couple of things that have come off this this sort of ring that threads on there, and then over the top of that there was this red housing. So a couple of retaining screws. One came out, the other one didn't. It just stripped the thread, so I had to just grind the head. The head stripped, so I had to grind it back. It doesn't matter because this is being shortened, and so is the canopy. It looks like it slides in from this end because there's a slot going all the way through this red end housing, and on the other end, it's a dead end. So the canopy obviously slides out that way. I think there may have been a screw this end. There's a hole there, but I can't see any screw. So we'll just have to see. I've sprayed some okay, well, I've got the other end of a pin of the screw out of this side. There was just still a broken off piece down in there, which I had to can't want to focus, which I had to get to and wheedle out. But now it's out. It looked like it was going to be easy to pull out. Yeah, really easy. So that's going to work, which is great. Just sliding out, no problem at all. And then I'll see about getting these end caps off and seeing what's under there. Cheers. Well, I can't see how these two end pieces come off. They're pushed in there pretty tightly. I tried heating around the pipe just to see if that would loosen anything and try and get a clamp on there and pull it. I can't. So on this end, I'm going to, as the whole tube is being shortened anyway, I'm just going to cut through with the grinder back a bit, just carefully, just below the surface, to make sure there's no cables or rod that connects one end to the other. I don't think there is, but yeah, I'm just going to go and have a go at that and see what that reveals. Yeah, so just a couple of minutes later, as I suspected, they're just pushed in. So I just cut the ends off, put a knocking bar through on the inside, a couple of taps, and off it comes. So the same for the other one. There's no bar or anything that connects the two ends together. I didn't think there was. So next step is to decide the total length of the canopy. onto the side of the van, and then cut the pole accordingly, nice and at right angles. So I'll wind a bit of wide marking tape around there, wrap it round, and then get a nice straight cut. Then I'll have to spray the ends because this is galvanised. Obviously this gets very wet as it's exposed. Paint the ends, put the two caps back on, and look at reassembling it. Well, that's the canopy and the inner tube shortened by 900 millimeters. I thought it would be about a metre, and it's yeah, it turned out to be 900 millimeters. So just chop that off there, and shorten the tube. Sprayed the ends up just to give them a bit of protection. Obviously, the aluminium doesn't need doing because it won't. Well, it will oxidise, but it won't rust away. So that's that. Now I'll put one end on. I think I'll put that end on and look at cutting the canopy back by 900 millimeters. I think that's going to be a bit more of a tricky job. I might have to lay it out on the floor over there, but I'll come back to you after I've probably cut the canopy, put the ends back on, and slid the canopy back in. I'm just cutting through the canopy now. either end. There's actually a bit of damage somewhere up there. There's a big hole, and also a little bit on the other edge. So I've measured 60 in from one side, 30 in from the other, to give the 90 millimeter reduction in length. So just measured 300 mil in from the edge, made a series of marks with a pencil, drawn a line, put a straight edge next to it along the line, press it down, and get a hook Stanley knife, and just very easily cut through the canopy, and then I'll unroll it some more, and do the whole lot, and then slide it back in. Here's the canopy cut to length and reinserted in the awning, and just dry fitting the end caps to make sure they line up, and nothing's too short or too long, and they do line up nicely. It's a nice fit in there, and pop rivet to go in there, and then the couple of screws to pull the end cap in, and then on the other side again, nice tight fit at that point there where the cap goes on, and just need to drill a hole to line up for that pop rivet, and then that needs to be pulled up and a couple of retaining screws in, and that'll be it for that part. The next part is to look at the broken bits on the end of the stays, wherever they are. Yeah. So here we have a bit broken off where the canopy was lifted and took off in the wind. I've got all the bits. I don't know whether it's die cast aluminium or cast aluminium, but I've got something on the way to test whether it's die cast or cast. If it's die cast, that's a bit more tricky, and I'll probably use some of the sort of solder type aluminium rods. If it's cast, then I have these TIG rods for it, 53, 56, which I've been told should be the right ones. And I'll be doing that with the Fiamma AC/DC machine. So that's the next stage. Well, the next bit of the operation is to repair this broken end of the extendable canopy. Here's the other side, all in place. This bit is broken off, so I needed to get this out in order to weld it, but because it's on a long cable and spring, I've had to release it somehow. You might be able to just see in there the end of a thread. So I've screwed on a long threaded thread end onto the thread that's in there, and then welded a length of cable onto that, and used a clamp, a pull me clamp, to set up against the bar, and then wrap the cable around the handle there, tied it off quite tightly, and then use the pushing motion of the clamp to pull the tension off the spring, and then at some point it released, and I'm then able to pull the end pull this end off the cable, and you can just see that little sort of housing there, down in there, that the threaded end sort of hooks into. I think that makes sense. So it was in there, captured in there, so I've pulled it out, moved it over to the right, and then it's dropped all the way back in. There you can just see the end of that thread that I've got on that nut I showed you on the other one. So now we have that released, I can get on and have a go at welding that back on, and see how that goes. Whether it's cast or die cast, I don't know. I might have a go at welding it at AC/DC aluminium, welding it assuming it's cast. If that doesn't work, then I'll have to wait for the other sort of soldering aluminium rods to come and try that. I've got the part assembled now. I've ground out a nice V where I can. It's quite a difficult casting to get all the way in. There's no way I can get right in there really, so I've V'd it out as much as I can all the way around. I did a little test piece of welding on the face there, and it welded quite nicely, so I should be good to go. Fill it up nice and hot, get a lot of filler wire in there, and then grind it all back, and it should be all right.